Hey guys, Vazo here, and today we're going to talk about trees. No, we're not going to do that. That would be really boring. No, but what we're going to do is we're going to make an Ocelot statue. And as you know, there are 4 different skins of Ocelot. And this one decided to despawn on me once again. That's great. But you know, there is the regular Ocelot, and then upon giving it a raw fish, it'll split off into one of these 3 skins here, either Tabby, Tuxedo, or Siamese. But obviously, as you know from the title of this video, we're going to be making an Untamed Ocelot. And as far as these 3 go, I will be making 3 separate videos on them individually, so you can look out for that. But anyways, let's go ahead and grab our blocks that we need for this. And we're actually going to need quite a few blocks, so go ahead and grab yourself some smooth stone. And the alternative to smooth stone is actually birchwood planks or sand or any of these, or really anything you want. You never have to use the same blocks as me, but yeah. And the next thing you will need is some brown wool, some orange wool, light gray wool, regular gray wool, white wool, and green wool. And I'm gonna grab some torches to light everything up nice and bright for you guys. But anyways, that will be it for the entire statue. And so, as you know, the Untamed Ocelot, it has this pattern scheme on it, which makes it seem really confusing and intimidating at first. But I'm going to try to simplify it for you so it's not that annoying to do. And so, first we're going to make the Ocelot without the pattern scheme. We'll add that in later so it's not like really tricky as we're building. So, all you're going to need for now is some normal smooth sandstone, and let's get started. So first we'll begin with its feet, and the feet are going to be 2 by 2, and then with a 1 block gap go ahead and make another 2 by 2, and then with a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I already messed up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're gonna make another pair of 2 by 2s, and don't forget that 1 block gap. Okay, great. Now we're gonna add his legs, and they are going to be 4 in height, so 2, 3, 4. There you go. Now you can raise the rest of them to 4 as well. Okay, sweet. Legs done. We're doing good. Now it's time to add the body, and the body is going to be 6 in height. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you've ever seen my pig or sheep video, similar to that, I tell you it has some layers shifted to the front and to the back. But the Ocelot, it also has something like that. So really all you need to do is go to the front of your Ocelot, and we're going to add 2 additional layers right at the top rim here. So that is the front, and if you go around to the back of it, just add 1 layer additional on the top, just like that. And you do build right over here, so this will be as well 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can go ahead and connect these up. But just to let you know, you do not want to connect it from his legs here. Okay, that may have been a mistake. You want to connect it from this tower here like that all the way to this one over here. And as you're filling this one all in, do not fill in his belly, okay? Leave the belly wide open, because we're going to need that open when we add in the pattern anyway. So you can fill in everything else but the belly. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, now we finally have his body done. and hopefully you did not fill in his belly. It should just look something like this, you know, completely empty, because like I said, we need this open when we add the pattern scheme. Alright, so now let's move on and build his head. And the head, it's going to be 4 by 5 or 5 by 4. So if you go around to the top of his body here, just place 3 blocks down here and then 1 up. So we have 4 there, and you can go ahead and connect this up. So this will be 4 in height, and it will extend by 5. Sorry, I totally just like had this biggest brain fart ever. Anyway, so there you go. So that's what it should be. So 5 by 4. That's what I should have said. But anyways, yeah, there you go. So you can go ahead and make the rest of his head. Alright, so his head is complete. Except the Ocelot actually has ears. Yes, it has ears, obviously. We're gonna add his ears. So if you go around to the left corner and skip that, just put 2 double blocks just like that, and that is his ears. And if you come around to the front of his face, we're gonna need to add his snout or his nose, and that'll be this sort of U shape like that, and it should have this little gap here, and you can just put in gray wool because that's his nose. And so that is what his nose should look like. And finally, we will put in his tail. So if you go around to the back of him, his tail, it's sort of like this staircase type of thing that goes a little something like that. So it's going to be double blocked, and we're gonna do one of these 4 times. So right here, here's the middle. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have 4 of those, and then 1 final one, which is just a long one, and that is going to be 7 long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there you go. And that is the Ocelot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm going to show you. That was the easy part. Now it's time for the little bit more... I wouldn't say it's hard. It's really just tedious. So now we're going to be using all these other wools. So let's go ahead and switch to your orange wool, because now we're going to start basic with his feet. So go to his feet, and all you're going to do here, just go ahead and punch out the bottom part of every single foot. And as you already know, we're going to replace that with orange wool. So pretty simple so far. And next, go to the front of his legs, and see these corner blocks right here? Punch out these corners, and we're going to replace that with brown wool. And you can do this for the back legs as well. And there you go. And those are his feet. Now let's move along to his face. Okay, so go to his face, and so switch to your orange wool, and so we're going to need to add his eyebrows. So you can punch out these corners here and replace that with orange wool. And now we need to punch in his eyes, so right below the eyebrows, you know, going diagonal from his nose here, punch out that. And we're going to add his white spot, and he has green eyes, so go ahead and fill in green eyes there. And finally, on the corners of his face here, you can punch out the corner blocks and replace that with orange wool. And so that is what the Ocelot's face should look like. Now coming around to the top of his head, you can break his ears and replace that with orange wool. And right in front of this ear here, you can break these 2 blocks, and in front of this ear, just only this one. And we're going to add brown wool for this and brown wool for that, and this one will be light gray. And finally, on the corners of his head there, we're going to break those and replace that with orange wool. And so that is what the top of his head should look like. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but you will need to pause during this video. But as you can tell, I'm going nice and slow, but make sure you pause. It will be pretty essential to pause because you want to know what it really looks like. So now let's move along to the side of his face here. And so for this, from this white patch here, we're going to add this sort of design shape. So just punch out blocks. So just follow along with me. So something like this, that is what you're going to punch out. And light gray here, and the rest of that will all be orange. So it should be a little bit something like this. And this corner orange block here, we're going to need an additional orange right there. Alright, and so obviously for the other side of his face, it's the same thing again. So I'll show you again. So this orange block needs one more there, and so you're going to punch out this sort of design. It starts with 2, and then it goes down 3, and then up 1, and this is all orange. Except for this one right here. This will be light gray. And so that is what your Ocelot's side of the face should look like. Alright, so now let's move along to the front of its belly here. And so you can, for the belly, you can actually take out this whole section. So just remove this entire thing. Okay, this one's actually really easy. All we're gonna need is an orange here, and then 2 browns underneath that. Well, 1 brown, and then the rest of it is all white. So switch to your white wool and just fill the rest of all of this in with some white wool. And you should have a little bit something like this. And under his head here, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but if you really wanted it, if you go from this left cheek part, I guess, if you go diagonal from this block, punch out 1, and then diagonal again, punch out 2, you're going to replace that with orange wool. And it's just something that's on the bottom of the Ocelot. You don't really have to add it, but you know, you can if you want to. Anyways, so we have his face done and that done. So now let's move along to the belly. So coming around to the belly here, you should see it's all open, and we're gonna need to fill this in with white wool. And I just want to mention that hopefully, I didn't say this before, but this should be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 by 5. So hopefully you have that. That is actually something important. I just had to mention that because if that was 1 extra, it would have been wrong. So make sure that yours is 3 by 4 like that. So now with the belly, we need to fill all this in with white wool, but we want it to be flat like this. So you need to build along the inside of your Ocelot. So go ahead and fill in his belly. So you should have something like this when you're done. Nice and flat. Remember, you built on the inside. And if you do have, like, if something looks wrong, if yours looks something like this maybe, that's because you may have punched out 1 additional layer here. This should be 3 by 5, so make sure that is right. But yeah, you should have a flat white belly like so. So now what's going to happen is we need to punch out some pattern stuff. And so what's going to happen here is, if you go along to the, I'm on the right side of the Ocelot, so starting from his leg here, on this block right here, you see that? We're going to skip 4 blocks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and punch that out, and go along to the other side and do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and punch that and replace that with white wool. And now we're going to have a 2 block gap from this white block and punch out these 3 blocks here. And we're going to add light gray here, and then the other 2 here, these will be orange. And it's the same thing once again on this side, so basically just the front, the 3 in front of from your leg. So these will be orange and that will be light gray. Alright, so now moving along, now it's time to conquer the body. Yes, so, but let's still keep it a little bit easy. We will go to, we're going to fill in the top of his body here. So the way I'm going to do this is, you see how there's like rows here, these layers? I'm going to go individually, row by row. So I'm not like punch here and then go here and that. Okay, so we're just going to go nice and slow by the rows. And my Ocelot doesn't have shoulders. No, I don't know if I forgot to add these, but You go from the leg here, and if you just follow up the leg, add a 2x2, just like that. Go around to the other leg, and another 2x2. Did I really forget that? Wow, that is terrible. But anyways, let's begin with the pattern scheme. So first you're going to need, starting from this layer here, well actually we'll do this whole 2x2 because it's really easy. You're just going to punch out a 2x2 right here, and you're going to punch out an upside down L right here. And this is going to be sort of like a checkers. We're going to have 2 oranges here, and these will be white. And then on this side we will have brown, light gray, and then orange. Like I said, you guys will need to pause, so remember to do that. Alright, so starting from this layer here, punch out these 2, skip 1, and punch out these 2. Alright, so these first 2, they're both going to be brown, and then over here we'll have a brown there and an orange here. Next layer, we will punch out this one, skip that, punch out this one, skip that, and this one. And all 3 of these are going to be orange. Alright, so for the next layer, we're going to, this one is actually all blank, so just skip that one. So moving along, we're going to punch out the first one there. Sorry about that. And you're going to have a 2 block gap and punch out these 2 here. And so these all 3 will be light gray. Next layer, we will have the first 2 here, and then you will have 1 block gap, or no, 2 block gap, and 1 right here. And that one will be orange, or brown. This will be brown, and a light gray here. Next layer, we shall have skip 1, 2, 3, 4, only break the 4th one, and punch in an orange wool. And then if you just go diagonal from this orange, we only need to punch out 1 here, and that'll be white. And then moving along here, we're going to punch out a sort of L shape like that, and we will have orange, orange, and then brown. And then at the end here, this will simply be 1 orange. And this is blank here. And then next layer right here, we only need to add 1 block. So on the 4th layer right here, just add 1 orange. And actually these 2 in front of the orange, or behind it, they will be brown. And finally the corners right here, they are going to be orange as well. And there you go. That is what the top of your Ocelot should look like. So that may have been a little bit hectic, but hopefully you kept up and paused. So now let's move on to the side of the Ocelot. Now we're gonna basically, it's gonna be the same thing like I did with the top. So we're gonna go in rows like that. And so starting from, you see this light gray block right here, this is where the layer is going to begin. And wow, I just realized that should be white. My bad, that's all you had to switch. Just make sure that's white. Sorry. Anyways, so now let's begin. So from under this white block, we're gonna just first punch out the blocks in the row, and then we'll add in the wools necessary. So first we're gonna punch out the first 3 here, and then we'll have 2 block gap, punch out 1, 2 block gap again, punch out 1, and then 2 block gap, punch out 3. So the first 3 over here, this is going to be light gray, orange, and then brown. And then we will have these 2 single ones, they're both going to be orange. And then these 3 here, they shall be brown, orange, and light gray. So next layer, from under this light gray wool here, we're going to skip this block, and right under this orange we'll have 1, and then 1 block gap, punch out 2, and then 2 block gap again, punch out 1, and then go all the way to the end here, and you're going to punch out the last 2 here. So this first block right here, this is going to be white. These 2 over here is going to be an orange sickle, orange and white. This single block right here, this will be a brown, and this will be a brown, and then an orange. Alright, hopefully you're still following along. So now from under this sandstone here, we're going to skip the first 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then under this white, punch out that, and then 1 block gap, punch out 1 right here, and then with a 3 block gap, 1, 2, 3, punch out 1, and then with a 1 block gap, punch out 1 and 1. So it should just be 1, 1, 1 like that. And so starting from the first one, under this white, we're going to have brown, and then we're going to have orange here, and then this shall be white, orange, brown. Okay, and finally, this is actually the last row. So now, second to last right here, we're going to punch out the first 3, and then we'll have a 4 block gap, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the 5th one, punch out these 2, so the 5th and 6th right there, and then 1 block gap, punch out 1 right here, and that is it. So now these 3 right here, this will be light gray, brown, and then orange, and then these 2 here, these will both be brown actually, and this right here, this will be a light gray. And there you go, we're done. That is the side of his body. So hopefully you followed along nicely with that. You may have needed to pause, so make sure you do that. And the other side of it is actually the exact same, so you can go ahead and do that right now. No, I'll show you. I'm totally kidding. I wouldn't do that. But really it is the exact same, but I realize it is quite confusing, so we will do that now. So from under this white block, once again, we're going to punch out the first 3, and then with a 2 block gap, punch out 1, 2 block gap again, punch out 1, and then 2 block gap again, punch out 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now to fill it all in, first we're going to have light gray, orange, and then brown, and then these 2 singles here, this will both be orange, and then these 3 here, this will be brown, orange, and light gray. So next layer, from under the light gray here, we're going to skip this one, and under this orange, punch out 1, and then 1 block gap, punch out 2, and then 2 block gap again, punch out 1, and we're going to have all the way at the end, punch out the last 2. So this single one here, this is going to be white, this will be the orange sickle, orange and white. This single block right here, this is going to be a brown, and then the 2 end pieces here, this is going to be an orange, and then, or a brown and then an orange. Alright, so next layer, under this smooth sandstone, we're going to have skip the first 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one, punch out 1, and then 1 block gap, punch out 1, and then 3 block gap, 1, 2, 3, punch out 1, 1, and 1. So under this white right here, we're going to add an orange, or sorry, a brown, and then we will have an orange, and then these 3 here, it's going to go white, orange, and then brown. And finally the last row, this we're going to punch out the first 3, and then we're going to have a 4 block gap, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, diagonal from this white, punch out 2, and then we will have 1 block gap, punch out 1, and that is it. So these 3 here is going to go light gray, orange, or brown, then orange, and then these doubles, this will both be brown, and then this single block, this is going to be light gray. Phew! Wow! Well, and that is the other side of him. And once again, I hope you got that. Remember to pause. I'm sure you already are. But anyway, so wow. Hopefully you guys got that. Now, finally, we just add the tail, and we're gonna be done. So for the tail, it's actually super duper simple. Actually, no, once again I messed up. We need to add the back part here. So if you go around to his back, actually it's only a few blocks. So starting from the bottom, skip this block, you're gonna punch out these 2, and then going diagonal, It's going to be one right there, and this will be orange, or brown. I keep calling it orange. And then we'll have an orange and then a brown. And then diagonal from these two here, we're going to have a white, like so. And under this brown, we need one more brown. And that should do it for the back of the Ocelot. You guys have no idea how many times I have messed up on this video. It's so ridiculous. But anyways, now let's finally finish it by adding the tail. So the third stair, we're going to break that and we're going to replace it with brown. And then on the long part, you're going to break the first two and replace that with light gray. And then skip one, punch out one, and then we're going to have brown there, and you can punch out the end too, and this is going to be orange and then brown, and we're done. We finally finished the Ocelot. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys were able to successfully build your Ocelot. If you want, you can post a video response. I would love to know if this actually worked. Make sure you leave me some feedback, because I know I did mess up a lot. So leave me some feedback on what I could improve on. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video, and as always, thank you for watching.